What if I told you that the IRS already gave you a tool to settle your tax debt and you've been throwing it away every year? Now, in this video, I'm going to break down how to use the IRS payment coupon as a lawful tender to discharge debt, what to do if the IRS ignores your remittance, and how to lawfully enforce your position using the administrative process. I've studied UCC laws, treasury procedures, and lawful payment methods, and I'm here to show you a remedy hidden in plain sight. Now, before we dive into this video, if you're brand new, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, tap in, because we're talking about things that people do not talk about, all right? The IRS won't tell you this. You dig what I'm saying? Also, number two, this is not legal advice. This is not financial advice. So make sure to do your due diligence. Make sure to go all in on the information. Don't just trust me, right? Go find the truth for yourself. You dig what I'm saying? We have a different setup. You know, I'm actually back home in Maryland, but the grind doesn't stop. You dig what I'm saying? The reason why I wanted to specifically talk about using payment remittance against the IRS, and this is not tax advice either, is because I recently got off the phone with one of my followers, and one of the things that they're kind of going through is their wages being garnished. All right. And I wanted to specifically, and he attempted to use the remittance coupon process, but he wasn't able to get the result that he wanted, and it ended up garnishing his wages. Okay. Now, I'm not going to specifically talk about how to stop that, because there's multiple ways to stop your wages from being garnished, you know, and I may talk about that in this video, but I want to talk about the proper way to use payment remittance. You dig what I'm saying? So we're going to go a few of the things as it pertains to discharging IRS debt. And this, just think of this more as like a part one. Okay. This is something I'm going to continue to learn, continue to compound on. And while I am learning, I plan to give you guys the game. Okay. So first things first, what we're going to be talking about specifically is the truth behind the IRS coupon. Essentially what happens when you get a coupon from the IRS, how to be able to use that. Can you do remittance with it? I'm also going to be talking about how to use the coupon for discharge, what to do if they ignore you, and also some of the strategies and some of the laws that back it up. So make sure you stick all the way to the end so that you know the legal merit behind it, but more importantly, you know how to enforce it. You dig what I'm saying? How to properly do it. All right. Now, there's a couple things I want to pull up. First things first, I want to pull up exactly, you know, we all know what this is. We all get a little tax bill similar to this. You dig what I'm saying? And I just found this online. All right. It's a $31,000 tax bill. You dig what I'm saying? And down at the bottom is our coupon. All right. So notice how this looks like a check. All right. Looks very similar to our utility bills. Looks very similar to all our bills, mortgage, whatever the case may be. And one may ask, can I remit my bills or remit my IRS debt? And yes, you can. Because number one, they wouldn't just send you a, you know, payment voucher or a coupon for nothing. Okay. Like they're not just giving you a coupon for nothing. All right. So it isn't just junk. And it's a remittance instrument that's tied to your account like a bill of exchange. Okay. But have you ever asked, okay, you know, why send a coupon if no account is open? Why would they do this if this couldn't be used is the question. You dig what I'm saying? So they send you this, and I want you to know that this entire sheet of paper is a bond. The bottom part is the coupon that's attached to the bond. And when you first, I mean, let's just, we understand this. So I wanted to particularly pull up this law here, 31 CFR 328.5, forms of endorsement. So how to properly endorse it. I want you guys, 325.8 is so that you know exactly what you should be stamping on the coupon, okay? But what we're supposed to stamp specifically for our situation is on the next page, which is 31 CFR 328.6, requirement for endorsements on bearer securities, okay? It says that in the law, the endorsement must be imprinted in the left-hand portion of the face of each security. This is the left-hand portion. In such a manner to be clearly legible and in such a position that it does not obscure the serial number or series designation or other identifying data and cover the smallest possible portion of the text on the face of the security. The dimensions of the endorsement should approximately 4 inches in width and 1.5 inches in height and must be imprinted by a stamp or plate of such character as it will render the endorsement substantially erradicable. Okay, so long story short, it says that you should use a stamp. You can go to rubberstamps.com, essentially put this together. You got to wait for it to come. And I'll recommend, obviously not to be, breaking off no identifying information, but this is around the area. You want to stamp it, fill out this coupon at the bottom, sign the back of it, and boom, the coupon is done. Okay. If you follow these instructions, then you have properly endorsed the coupon. Now, the only thing that you need to change, okay, it says that when securities are presented to the Bureau of Fiscal Service, the words United States Treasury should be used in lieu of words of Federal Reserve Bank of Fiscal Agent of the United States. So when you look at the previous page and you go to 328.5 forms of endorsements, this is what they're talking about. Okay. And when they say in lieu, you should put United States Treasury instead of this here. Okay. You take out this whole thing, you put United States Treasury, but you keep it the same, sign it, and that's what you put on your stamp. Okay. So I wanted to cover that so that you guys understand exactly what it is that you're supposed to be doing when you are endorsing a coupon. One says, okay, I want to make sure I do it right. All right. Make sure you look at 328.5 and 328.6 and understand how to endorse a coupon. You dig what I'm saying? All right. So now that we got that covered, wanted to cover that real quick. Get well versed on that law. Also want to go to the aspect of 31 USC 3123, payment of obligations and interest on public debt. And so it says that the faith of the United States government is pledged to pay in legal tender principal and interest on the obligations of the government issued under this subchapter. The Secretary of Treasury shall pay interest due and accrued on public debt as the Secretary considers expedient. Okay? In layman's terms, it's saying that the United States pretty much insures all public debt. When you think of insured or anything that's guaranteed, then that means that somebody's going to pay it. Okay? And it's saying that all public obligations or the payment of obligations is of the United States. And this is listed here in 31 USC 3123. You dig what I'm saying? Go tap into this law if you want to fully understand what this means. And it breaks it down even further, which is so interesting. What I love about being able to read it. And then to further affirm exactly that this is true is the fact that, you have to really question why they have 1040Vs, which is a payment voucher, okay, and other forms that are linked to transactions and, things regarding the IRS, okay? Like, one may see this and say, well, they just give us this, but this is literally a check, okay? And I'm only bringing this up just to show you the truth about the IRS coupon. This very much resembles this right here. Okay. Don't they look the exact same? You dig me? So it's just the truth about the coupon. And I want you to know that they don't just send coupons as donations. They actually have an obligation to send the coupon. Why is that? Because the United States pretty much guarantees the payment of all public debts. Okay. Now we can easily argue that the IRS debt is also voluntary, but that's just a different road that I made a video on, but I won't go down that road right now. Okay. But I want you to treat the IRS debt and their coupon the same exact way that you would treat any other remittance coupon process. So understanding that they have the obligation to accept your coupon, we want to discuss how to use the coupon for discharge the proper way. Okay. Now, if you've gotten this far, click the like button, hit the subscribe button, tap in. You dig what I'm saying? So the first thing you want to do is you want to endorse the coupon just like I talked about before, using 31 CFR 328.5 and 328.6, you want to endorse it properly and essentially accept for value. You dig what I'm saying? On top of that, you want to do what's called a Form 56. And this is optional, but it does make it better for you in your case. You want to go ahead and do a Form 56. A Form 56 is essentially breaking down the fiduciary relationship between you and the straw man. All right. So you will fill out the Form 56 and you essentially would put them on notice that you are a fiduciary of your straw man. Now you can also go to the aspect of doing this through your trust and things of that nature, but I'm going to speak from the aspect as if you're going to do it yourself and appoint yourself as the fiduciary of your straw man. Okay. This will be able to enhance your coupon. And then you can also do what's called a Form A822B, which is a change of address or responsible party, which essentially is also very similar to the Form 56, but you would appoint, whether it's your trust, whether it's you, the natural person, the person that is responsible for the straw man. Okay. So these are some forms that you can do more on an optional basis. It does help. All right. But the most important part is once you endorse the coupon, okay, you don't just endorse the coupon and, you know what I mean, send it to the IRS and then the IRS just accepts it for value. You want to make sure that you communicate with them via notice of acceptance, a notice of tender, okay, or a notice of remittance. You got to put them on notice and say, hey, I'm using this, I'm accepting this for value, and I'm using this negotiable instrument to set off my debt with you guys, okay? You treat them like a debt collector, all right? And you want to make sure to send this via certified mail with tracking, all right? Now, real quick, I do want to put out there the addresses that you can send it to. Give me 1 second. The addresses that I want you to send it to. These are the different addresses that I want you guys to use for your accept for values. You can try one and send it to one, but you know, obviously you want to pick the ones that are closest to your address, but push come to shove, send it to all parties involved. Okay. Send it to all these addresses, right? I would exercise it through each address. All right. So you got the 1500 Pennsylvania Avenue, Northwest, Washington, D.C., the IRS Technical Support Division, you got the Criminal Investigation Division, and you got the Internal Revenue Service, P.O. Box 9036 in Ogden, Utah. You dig what I'm saying? So these are the addresses. Write them down, take a picture, whatever the case may be, do what you got to do. All right. But only do this if you're going to endorse it properly. Remember, when I talk about 31 CFR, 31 CFR 328.285. This is so important for you to know and understand that you're using this for your endorsement, but you need to change this with the United States Treasury. Okay? If you understand that and you understand both of these sections, this is how you will properly put together a coupon. The next step is understanding the administrative process, making sure to send them a notice, let them know exactly what it is that you're doing. Don't just submit a remittance coupon and hope that it's just going to work. It's not something that you should hope is going to work. It's something that you know is going to work, okay? If you know something works, then it will actually work. If you just go based off hope, then you're assuming it won't work, all right? And this is why it doesn't work for most people, because they move off of hope and not off of what they know, all right? Now, here's what else we know. Under the tender payment law, let's just say they are in a position where they ignore you, they refuse you, all right? One of my favorite laws is UCC 3-603, which also applies to any debt collector, any commercial company. You dig what I'm saying? If you go to UCC 3-603, it says, if a tender payment of an obligation to pay an instrument is made to a person entitled to enforce the instrument and the tender is refused, then there is discharged, okay? So when you submit your coupon, it's not that you're sitting here communicating with them and saying, hey, you know, can you discharge my debt? It's more of a, this is what I'm using. If you decide to refuse it, it's going to be discharged. Basically saying you're not going to take my money or my method of payment, so you cannot come after me for the payment. You dig what I'm saying? Then they also have an obligation when you present them something under UCC 3-501 presentment. It's a demand made by or behalf of a person entitled to enforce the instrument. You dig what I'm saying? So again, a presentment is also a demand. All right. So you're not really, asking them for anything. You're demanding them. All right. They have to perform now when you present them something. So understand that the coupon is a check and they are just banking on you never truly cashing on it. And that's how you would do it. This is how you would use the coupon for discharge. Endorse the coupon. You can file a Form 56. You can file a Form AA22-B, change of responsible party. You also want to send a notice of tender or an affidavit putting them on notice of your remittance. And then you want to send everything certified mail. You dig what I'm saying? So now the question will arise, what happens if they ignore you? And this is where most people stop, all right? Most people stop when they start getting ignored because they don't understand that silence is dishonor. If they maneuver silently, they decide not to respond or just continue with the collection process without acknowledging what it is of your demands and acknowledging your presentment, then that is considered dishonor, okay? If they dishonor you, that right there is a violation within itself, and they have to explain why they dishonored you, okay? But also, if they decide to ignore you, that right there is also acquiescing, okay? Anything that you put in your documents now stands in truth, or you can assume what it is that they did about it. You can assume that they refused it, or you can assume that they accepted it, okay? So here's the remedy path if there is no response. You want to send a fault and dishonor letter, and you want to give them the opportunity to cure their dishonor. Hey, you ignored me. Maybe you missed my letter, but here's what I said. Review that first affidavit and get back to me. All right? They decide not to respond to that. Then you go and you have them default. Hey, look, I sent you a couple letters about this coupon and you guys didn't respond. And you want to do this over a maximum of 90 days. Okay? 30 days per letter. Sometimes you can enforce it 10 days. Sometimes you can do, 14 days, whatever the case may be. Just make sure you are on top of it, however many days you give them. Okay? You want to have them default because that puts you in a very advantageous position. Okay? Because now you can pretty much prove that you attempted to move in honor. They ignored you. And now we can truly say that the case is closed. Y'all could have came back and said, hey, we accept it, or y'all could have gave me some legal merit behind you guys dishonoring me, but you decided not to. And that's on you. You decided to ignore me and be silent. All right. Number 2, you can also issue a conditional acceptance, essentially saying, hey, I will do X, Y, and Z if you can prove this. Okay. If you can't prove that you have no jurisdiction or you can't accept this coupon or whatever the case may be, or that I'm not moving within the operation of the law, right? If this is not considered something that is legal tender or a financial asset to you or won't settle the account, then you're going to have to just adhere to my demands. All right. Number 3, you want to also log an administrative record showing the proper tender. If you know that you're going to do the tender properly, then you want to make sure that you have record of it. And this is why you go through the administrative process. The administrative process is an administrative paper trail in case they try to bring this information back on you and say, oh, you're doing something wrong. No, I communicated with you over 90 days of exactly what it is that I'm doing, and you guys decided to ignore me. So your silence is actually not compliance, it's acquiesce. It's actually showing me that you're avoiding me because you know I'm doing something right. An optional thing that you can do is you can notify the Treasury or the IRS commissioner of what you have done and how they have lacked honor on their part. And then also consider filing a Form 911, which is the taxpayer advocate, or you can request information based off the accounting of the account, if that makes sense. Okay. That is a Freedom of Information Act request where you're asking for information in regards to the accounting, this debt, whatever the case may be, that would essentially give you the identifying information that can help you in this case. So you're going to be asking for essential access to those existing IRS records, whether it's the accounting, whether it's that if that coupon has been cashed, Because if we know this information, then we know that the debt has been settled. And all we need at this point is information. So we can create our own record. And obviously, they have a duty to provide us this information. If they don't provide it, then they're just making their case even worse for non-compliance. All right. So once again, remember, silence is not compliance, it's avoidance. They can ignore you all they want, but until your paper trail, until you create your own paper trail, they'll continue to ignore you. When you show them that you have a paper trail, now it becomes their problem of them not responding. Now here, let's just talk a little bit about the laws that back up this once again. Okay, so we already talked about 31 CFR, 31 USC 3123, where it says that public debt must be paid. Okay, the obligation of the United States. So again, if this is public debt, if this is debt, then the United States, the faith of the United States is pledged to pay in legal tender. You dig what I'm saying? The Secretary of State shall pay interest due or accrued on public debt. All right. I'm not even diving into the fact that IRS debt is also voluntary. We're just talking about the aspect of, you know, a bank, or we're just talking about the aspect of any type of debt, whether it's a bank debt collector or IRS. IRS is considered a debt collector. It's considered public debt, so it applies to them as well. Then we dive into UCC 501, presentment. Tender or payment requires processing or dishonor. So if you don't process it, then it's dishonor. Dishonor is non-compliance. Okay. Then we dive into, then we also have the IRS manual, IRM 5.1.26, which literally talks about remittance, Form 809, and designated payments. All right. The whole point of this manual, or the portion of this manual, essentially says that, or outlines the acceptance and the return of remittance. So they literally have in their own IRS manual that about remittance. So it's like not a foreign language to them. So they can't sit here and act like, oh, well, we can't accept this or whatever the case may be. No, it literally gives the procedures, or the content includes remittance processing requirements and oversight procedures for control over this process. All right. So if one is confused about can the IRS accept remittance or how is it processed, come to this section and read it all. You know what I'm saying? We're not going to read all of this right now, but this is just the legal backing. So if one tries to make you think that you can't do this, it's literally written on the IRS website. Okay. Remittance processing overview. It's a good look. All right. Even talks about cash remittance and things in that nature. So be very strategic and review these laws that back you up, from 31 USC 3123, 3-501, UCC 3-505, UCC 1-308. All right. Looking at the IRS manual. These are some key laws that back up remittance as it pertains to IRS debt. Okay. I talk about this so that you guys can review it. It's all online. Just literally look it up and cross-reference everything that I'm talking about right now. Now, I want to talk about the enforcement and the next steps, because you guys know how to put together the IRS coupon. I literally just told you it's not a rocket science. Go to 31 CFR 328.5 and 328.6. Learn how to put the remittance together. Make sure you understand the administrative process, how to communicate with the debt collector, the IRS. Okay. Next thing you want to do is you want to enforce. This is where you got to understand how to enforce it, because yes, you can do all of this right, but they're going to make you think that you're doing it wrong. So I want you to understand that you are not asking for permission. You are asserting your rights. I always tell people, if you get to a point where you're asking, then you give away your right. Okay. You take away your own power. So stop asking and start demanding. This is why the definition of presentment is a demand. You dig what I'm saying? If you're going to send them a presentment, then you are demanding. Understand me? So I also want you to understand that you are not refusing to pay. So them coming back and saying, well, you're not going to pay, we're going to garnish your wages. That's not true. You're lawfully settling your debts. Okay. Because debt cannot be paid with debt. It just doesn't make sense. You dig what I'm saying? And they know this. So debt is just a perpetual cycle, or you paying for debt is just a perpetual cycle of them controlling you. So here's some tools for enforcement. Administrative affidavits, like I talk about, communicate with them. All right. Don't let them go unrebutted. Respond. Send them letters. Challenge everything that they're saying. If they try to say that you can't do something, have them prove it through conditional acceptance. Take them through the administrative process. If they dishonor you, let them know that UCC 3-603 says that if a tender is refused or dishonored, then it is discharged. Make sure you put that information out there. They know this, but let them know that you know this. Number 2, you don't have to explain it to them. All you have to do is let them know or show them an indication that you know what it is that you're talking about. Then we want to dive into the Freedom of Information Act request for the IRS accounting. If you guys didn't accept it, then let me see those documents that prove that you guys didn't accept it or use the coupon to set off my debt or didn't do your proper accounting. Then we dive into, you can use a UCC lien if warranted, and be very strategic about that. All right. And then there's also the taxpayer advocate form. Okay. The taxpayer advocate form, the form 911, is essentially to help individuals and business taxpayers resolve problems that haven't been resolved through normal IRS channels. So if we push come to shove, file this if you feel like you're getting ignored, and make sure you are disputing and have your documentary evidence before you get to this point. Okay, they have a process for collection, whether it's going to be remittance, whether you're going to actually pay, whether the case may be. You have to make sure to learn the process for discharge. There's multiple ways to process a payment or fulfill a debt, but you just got to know how to do it. And if you're going to go the route of discharging debt, understand the full process of discharging debt. Not only, I'm going to put this coupon or bill of exchange together, but I know how to communicate with the debt collector and enforce my position. All right, and state my claim. So they send you a coupon for a reason, not to donate. And if you know how to use it, they can settle the debt lawfully without fear. You dig what I'm saying? Create your paper trail. If you create that paper trail, they have no choice but to follow it. Now, if you want to learn more about this is part 1. Make sure to hit the subscribe button. Remember to hit the like button. Okay. Down below, in the complete debt guide, I'm going to put together a IRS discharge toolkit breaking down A to B this video. Okay, I'm also going to break down some coupon templates in there. Remember, it's not going to be legal, tax advice, or financial advice. Just use it for educational purposes only. If you decide to employ these strategies, by all means, you know what I mean? Like, that is, I have no liability to it. All my rights are reserved. It's literally information that I have put together for my own self. Okay. If you decide to use it as an educational tool, that's on you. But the link is in the description. Down below, if you want to work with me one-on-one, tap in, type, I have the link down in the description for you to work with me one-on-one for my mentorship. I only help people fix their credit, get funding, or start a credit repair business. Okay? If you're trying to set up a trust to do all of that, reach out to an attorney. An attorney will do all that for you. Or you can go watch my trust videos where I break down how to put together a trust, how to discharge debt from your trust. It will also be at the end of the video. I have a playlist put together of all my debt discharge content. Go tap into that. Remember to follow me on Instagram at biz.nick. Follow me on Twitch at biz_nick. All right. I'm in Maryland right now, so I may be streaming intermittently. So make sure you guys tap into the Discord. The link is in the description. So when I do go live, you guys can see it. Okay. Drop a comment if you ever gotten a tax bill and wondered if there was another way to pay. If you've gotten this far, remember to hit the like button, subscribe, turn on the post notifications, because freedom starts with knowing your rights, and this is the channel to come to. If you've gotten this far, comment the word discharge, and I'll see you in the next one.